Hey there, welcome back to our channel and the Catechism for Kids series. It's me again, Joseph, your host. Remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already so you never miss an exciting episode. In this coming September 29th, we are going to celebrate the feast day of the Archangels. So, let's get to know our first Archangel. Today, we are going to talk about Saint Michael the Archangel, the brave warrior of God and the patron saint of those who face difficult challenges. Michael, also called Saint Michael the Archangel. Archangel Michael, and Saint Michael the Taxiarch, is an archangel and the warrior of God in Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. The earliest surviving mentions of his name are in 3rd and 2nd century BC Jewish works, often but not always apocalyptic, where he is the chief of the angels and archangels. And he is the guardian prince of Israel and is responsible for the care of the people of Israel. The name of Saint Michael, in Hebrew Michael, is a battle cry. Who is like God? There are several variations, but they all point to God in heaven, whom Saint Michael serves with zeal. Christianity conserved nearly all the Jewish traditions concerning him, and he is mentioned explicitly in Revelation chapter 12, verses 7 to 12, where he does battle with Satan, and in the Epistle of Jude, where the archangel and the devil dispute over the body of Moses. The Book of Enoch lists Michael as one of 7 archangels. The remaining names are Uriel, Raguel, Raphael, Sariel, Gabriel, and Remiel, who in the Book of Tobit stand ready and enter before the glory of the Lord. The fact that Michael is introduced implies the knowledge of him and the other named angels. He is mentioned again in the last chapters of the Book of Daniel, a Jewish apocalypse composed in the 2nd century BC and set in the 6th, in which a man clothed in linen, never identified, but matching a description given to John in Revelation regarding the Alpha and Omega, tells Daniel that he and Michael, your prince, are engaged in a battle with the prince of Persia, after which at the end time, Michael, the great prince who protects your people, will arise. Enoch was instrumental in establishing the preeminent place of Michael among the angels and archangels, and in later Jewish works, he is said to be their chief, mediating the Torah, the law of God, standing at the right hand of the throne of God. In the traditions of the Qumran community, defends or leads the people of God in the eschatological, i.e. end-time battle. In other writings, he is responsible for the care of Israel, and he may be the one like a son of man mentioned in Daniel chapter 7 verses 13 to 14, and the commander of the heavenly armies. He is Israel's advocate contesting Satan's claim to the body of Moses. He intercedes between God and humanity and serves as high priest in the heavenly sanctuary. And he accompanies the souls of the righteous dead to paradise. The 7 archangels, or 4, as traditions differ, but always include Michael, were associated with the branches of the menorah, the sacred 7-branched lampstand, in the temple as the 7 spirits before the throne of God. And this is reflected in the Book of Revelation 4-5. From the throne came flashes of lightning, rumblings and peals of thunder, and before the throne were burning 7 torches of fire, which are the 7 spirits of God. Michael is mentioned explicitly in Revelation chapter 12, verses 7 to 12, where he does battle with Satan and casts him out of heaven, so that he no longer has access to God as accuser, his formal role in the Old Testament. The fall of Satan at the coming of Jesus marks the separation of the New Testament from Judaism. In Luke 22:31, Jesus tells Peter that Satan has asked God for permission to sift the disciples, the goal being to accuse them, but the accusation is opposed by Jesus, who thus takes on the role played by angels, and especially by Michael in Judaism. Michael is mentioned by name for the 2nd time in the Epistle of Jude, which is an impassioned plea for the believers to engage in battle against the incursion of the error. In verses 9 to 10, the author denounces the heretics by contrasting them with the archangel Michael, who, in disputing with Satan over the body of Moses, did not presume to pronounce the verdict of slander, but said, "The Lord punish you." Catholics often refer to Michael as Holy Michael, the Archangel, or Saint Michael. He is generally referred to in Christian litanies as Saint Michael, as in the Litany of the Saints. In the shortened version, said at the Easter Vigil, he alone of the angels and archangels is mentioned by name, omitting Saints Gabriel and Raphael. In Roman Catholic teachings, Saint Michael has 4 main roles, or offices. His first role is the leader of the army of God and the leader of celestial forces in triumphing over the powers of hell. He is viewed as the angelic model for the virtues of the spiritual warrior, his conflict with evil taken as the battle within. The second and third roles of Michael in Catholic teachings deal with death. In his second role, he is the angel of death, carrying the souls of Christians to heaven. Catholic prayers often refer to this role of Michael. In his third role, he weighs souls on his perfectly balanced scales, a common object he holds in art. In his fourth role, Saint Michael, the special patron of the chosen people in the Old Testament, is also guardian of the Church. Saint Michael was revered by the military orders of knights during the Middle Ages. The names of villages around the Bay of Biscay reflect that history. Moreover, doubtless for the same motive, he was considered the patron saint of a number of cities and countries. Catholic tradition includes also elements such as the prayer to Saint Michael, which specifically asks the saint to defend the faithful from evil. The chaplet of Saint Michael consists of 9 salutations, one for each choir of angels. In the general Roman calendar, the Anglican calendar of saints, and the Lutheran calendar of saints, the Archangels' feast is celebrated on Michaelmas's Day, the 29th of September. The day is also considered the feast of Saints Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. In the general Roman calendar and the feast of Saint Michael and all angels according to the Church of England. In late medieval Christianity, Michael, together with Saint George, became the patron saint of chivalry and is now also considered the patron saint of police officers, paramedics, and the military. Since the victorious Battle of Lechfeld against the Hungarians in 955, Michael was the patron saint of the Holy Roman Empire and the patron of the Germans. In mid to late 15th century, France was one of only 4 courts in Western Christendom without an order of knighthood. Later in the 15th century, Jean Malinet glorified the primordial feat of arms of the Archangel as the first deed of knighthood and chivalrous prowess that was ever achieved. Thus, Michael was the natural patron of the first chivalric order of France. It's the Order of St. Michael of 1469 in the British honours system. A chivalric order founded in 1818 is also named for these 2 saints, the Order of St. Michael and St. George. Prior to 1878, the scapular of St. Michael the Archangel could be worn as part of a Roman Catholic archconfraternity. Presently, enrollment is authorized as this holy scapular remains as one of the 18 approved by the Church. Apart from his being a patron of warriors, the sick and the suffering also consider Archangel Michael their patron saint. Based on the legend of his 8th century apparition at Mont Saint-Michel, France the Archangel is the patron of mariners in this famous sanctuary. After the evangelization of Germany, where mountains were often dedicated to pagan gods, Christians placed many mountains under the patronage of the Archangel, and numerous mountain chapels of St. Michael appeared all over Germany. Similarly, the sanctuary of St. Michel San Miguel Aralarcoa, the oldest Christian building in Navarre, Spain, lies at the top of a hill on the Aralar Range and harbors Carolingian remains. St. Michel is an ancient devotion of Navarre and eastern Guipuzcoa, revered by the Basques, shrouded in legend, and held as a champion against paganism and heresy. It came to symbolize the defense of Catholicism, as well as Basque tradition and values during the early 20th century. He has been the patron saint of Brussels since the Middle Ages. The city of Arkhangelsk, in Russia, is named for the Archangel. Ukraine and its capital, Kyiv, also consider Michael their patron saint and protector. In Linlithgow, Scotland, St. Michael has been the patron saint of the town since the 13th century, with St. Michael's Parish Church being originally constructed in 1134. Since the 14th century, St. Michael has been the patron saint of Dumfries in Scotland, where a church dedicated to him was built at the southern end of the town, on a mound overlooking the River Neath. An Anglican sisterhood dedicated to St. Michael, under the title of the Community of St. Michael and All Angels, was founded in 1851. The Congregation of St. Michael the Archangel CSMA, also known as the Michaelite Fathers, is a religious order of the Roman Catholic Church founded in 1897. The Canons. Regular of the Order of St. Michael the Archangel OSMR, an order of professed religious within the Anglican Church in North America. The North American component of the Anglican Realignment Movement, the city of Arkhangelsk, Russia, and the federal subject Arkhangelsk Oblast are named after Michael the Archangel. In the United States military, St. Michael is considered to be a patron of paratroopers and in particular, the 82nd Airborne Division. One of the first battles where the unit first was combat christened is the Battle of St. Mihiel during World War I. The beret insignia of the French paratroopers is a winged arm grasping a dagger, representing St. Michael. St. Michael is the patronus of Italian Special Forces 9th Reggimento Calmotion and the Italian State Police. St. Michael in Croatian, Sveti Mihavel, is patron of Croatian police and Croatian army, his feast day being also celebrated as the Police Day in Croatia. In Christian art, Archangel Michael may be depicted alone or with other angels such as Gabriel. Some depictions with Gabriel date back to the 8th century. For example, the stone casket at Notre Dame de Mortagne Church in France. The widely reproduced image of Our Mother of Perpetual Help, an icon of the Cretan school, depicts Michael on the left carrying the lance and sponge of the crucifixion of Jesus, with Gabriel on the right side of Mary and Jesus. In many depictions, Michael is represented as an angelic warrior, fully armed with helmet, sword, and shield. The shield may bear the Latin inscription Quisut Deus, or the Greek inscription Christos Dikaios Krites, or its initials. He may be standing over a serpent, a dragon, or the defeated figure of Satan, whom he sometimes pierces with a lance. The iconography of Michael slaying a serpent goes back to the early 4th century, when Emperor Constantine defeated Licinius at the Battle of Adrianople in AD 324, not far from the Michaelian, a church dedicated to Archangel Michael. Let's end our session today with the prayer to St. Michael. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly hosts, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan, and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world seeking the ruin of souls. And now it's time for the big question. How can we ask St. Michael the Archangel to help us? Whenever we are in danger, we can call upon the Archangel Michael to defend us. We can also ask him to help us to be strong and courageous when we face difficult situations. St. Michael reminds us that God is always with us and that he loves us very much. And when we know this, no evil can harm us. Thank you for watching this episode of Catechism for Kids. I hope that you enjoyed learning about St. Michael the Archangel. If you liked this video, please support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. Make sure to stay tuned for our next episode. God bless you.